I am your host, James Yoder, Michigan Football Report, and maybe LA Chargers insider. Breaking news here: after 9 seasons and 1 national championship, Jim Harbaugh has left the University of Michigan. A sad day indeed, but very bittersweet. He got Michigan to the top of college football, the best 3-year run of his coaching career or playing career, the best 3-year run that this program's had in over 100 years. It's certainly in the modern year of college football. And frankly, it's the best 3-year run of any Big Ten team in the modern era, at least in the last 50 years of college football. First person to put it out there, Michigan man himself, Adam Schefter. Breaking: Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan to accept the head coaching job with the Los Angeles Chargers. A source tells ESPN the Chargers get their man while the national champions now have a head coach opening. I wonder, has there ever been a team that won the national championship and their coach instantly left? I know, obviously, Pete Carroll and Nick Saban did it, but Carroll was around for at least 2 or 3 seasons after the last title, and I think Saban, when he was at LSU, was at least 1 or 2 after that 2003 national title, maybe even more than that. But the breaking news here: Jim Harbaugh off to the NFL. So some things to consider. We'll talk about all the details we know, but I want your one-word reaction. Give me your one-word reaction on how you're feeling right now. Harbaugh off to the NFL, Ohio State making all kinds of moves in the transfer portal, putting big bags of cash in front of guys for NIL, etc. Mine is, it's bittersweet. I'm also bummed. If I had 2 words, bummed, but bittersweet. I wish Jim Harbaugh the best, and maybe I'll become an LA Chargers fan. I'm open. My fanhood for the NFL is open. I kind of was raised a Cleveland Browns fans, but they stunk so many years. It is what it is. All right, let's continue more as Jim Harbaugh has left to become the Chargers head coach. Now the speculation is going to come: who will be Michigan's next head coach after Rich Rodriguez left with a losing record, Brady Hoke, I think, with barely a winning record, and then Jim Harbaugh, although he struggled at certain times against Ohio State, is now really the best. I think good argument there, was the best coach in maybe program history, at least up there with Bo Schembechler in the last 100 years, Fritz Chrysler, Fielding H.O.S., and others prior to that. And as Harbaugh is going to take this Chargers job, we are going to speculate on Jesse Minter, Jay Harbaugh, and the next Michigan football head coach. But I do want to tell you guys about Prize Picks, the sponsor of the Michigan Football Report. It's the easiest and fastest way to play daily fantasy sports. You just pick more or less on player stats to win up to 25 times your money. I'm keeping it simple this week, right? For the conference championship games in the NFL, I'm just picking 2 players, right? You can pick up 2 up to 6. You pick more or less on the stats that Prize Picks shows you. I'm going Justin Tucker, more than 1.5 field goals for the Ravens against the Chiefs. And then how about the Chiefs' Travis Kelce? I'm going more there, right? I like more, as it feels good to say more. Speaking of more, Jack, Sharon Moore, I'm going more than 64.5 yards for Travis Kelce receiving yards against the Ravens. It's the best daily fantasy sports app. It's free to download. You get a $100 deposit match when you use promo code CLNS. That's promo code CLNS. We're going to put that in the live chat right now. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Get up to a $100 first deposit match. I don't play daily fantasy historically. PrizePicks has changed the game for me this season. I've been using it every single week. Thursday Night Football, Monday, Saturday College Football, Sunday, Monday Night Football, and now we just got the conference championships, but it'll continue on. Basketball, baseball, obviously the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. Get going with PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, $100 first deposit match. Keep it rolling here on the Michigan Football Report. We're live. You may be watching this on demand. My just general opinion on Jim Harbaugh and kind of how I'm feeling here is I want to say thank you, right, to Jim Harbaugh, right? Thank you to Jim Harbaugh. He got Michigan, and there were times 3.5 years ago, 2020 season, sometimes the 2019 season after that loss to Wisconsin, that blowout loss to Ohio State, not showing up at the bowl game, against really Alabama, the year before that, Florida. I was like, thank you, Jim Harbaugh. I said it back then, but it was more of a condescending. You got Michigan out of the Brady Hoke, Rich Rod years. You get them back to respectability, 10-2, 9-3, losing to Ohio State, but making a couple games close. Thank you then for getting Michigan back to where maybe like the Lloyd Carr last year or two. But I would want to thank Jim Harbaugh for coming back to Michigan and giving the school 9 years, taking a pay cut, taking shots on everybody, every fan base, sitting out 6 games this year from something he says he is innocent of, both the hamburgers and the Connor Stallion saga. And against all odds, he rallied a disastrous 2-4 team in 2020, completely flipped the script on this program, delivered a 40-3 3-year run, folks. That is absolutely unprecedented in modern history of Michigan football. 1 regular season loss in 3 years. Just think about that for a second. In college football, that's insane. I wonder if Nick Saban's ever done that, right? One regular season loss in 3 straight seasons. Obviously lost to Georgia, a heartbreaker to TCU, and then finally got it done this year, beating Alabama on the last play of the game, 4th down, and kind of crushing Washington, although there were times during that game where it was a little closer than expected. So best of luck. You won the Super Bowl, or you won the College Football National Championship trophy. You held that bad boy up, 16 days ago, right? 16 days ago, right? Two Mondays ago. And now go for the biggest trophy of them all, the Vince Lombardi Trophy, which you and your brother, maybe you guys go back to back, right? Maybe the same year with the college NFL. Maybe you in the NFL next year after he wins a second trophy this year. If you love Michigan football, no matter what, spam Go Blue in the comments. Let me know what you guys are feeling in the live chat. Let's light up the comments with Go Blue. I think this is, for some people, this is a dark day, right? It's a dark day in Michigan football history, but I think it's a day that should be celebrated. Jim Harbaugh should be welcomed back as a celebrated coach in the future, and I think everybody should wish him well with the Chargers, and hopefully, continues to prove the doubters wrong, bet on himself. So spam Go Blue in the comments. A lot of people saying fire Ward Manuel. Maybe, but I'm not sure if Jim Harbaugh was leaving his future up to Ward Manuel. This is clearly what he wanted to do once he got Michigan to the top of the mountain. Let's take a look at Michigan football coaches of recent years. So Jim Harbaugh, 9 seasons, and he really could have 3 more wins here because they didn't give him the 3 wins at the beginning of the season because he was technically suspended. The last 3 against Ohio State, Penn State, and Maryland, it was a program suspension, so it actually did not, those did count, so he does get the win against Ohio State. 86-25 overall. His teams went 89-25 overall, 60-17 in the Big Ten. All those games did count. Brady Hoke, though, 31-20, 18-14 in the Big Ten. How about Rich Rod? 6-18 in the Big Ten, 15-22 overall. Lloyd Carr, similar kind of overall numbers, very similar kind of percentage-wise to Jim Harbaugh. Gary Moeller got fired after his 5th season, a couple Big Ten championships his first couple years, but his last 3 he was out of there with 4 lost years. Prior to that, so Harbaugh, 9 seasons, 86-25 overall, 1 national championship. He's got something that Bo Schembechler doesn't happen. Clearly, Schembechler coached a hell of a lot longer time, 21 years, 1969 through the 1989 season, 194, 48-5, right? That was when it was the Big Ten, Big 2 and Little 8 in the Big Ten, right? Ohio State, Michigan, and everybody else. There's stretches where, Bo Schembechler won every single game for like 4 or 5 seasons in a row in the Big Ten, except for Ohio State, right? Maybe won one year, lost 2 in a row, won another one. So I think that Harbaugh can be right up there, certainly with the Mount Rushmore of coaches, back with like Fritz Chrysler. I think there's an argument that he's a better coach, that he had a better career at Michigan than Lloyd Carr. So you could say him and Bo Schembechler, 1 and 1A at the top of the Michigan coaching pyramid the last 80-plus years. Let's just say after Fritz Chrysler and Fielding Yost in the 10s, the 20s, the 30s. Since then, kind of post-World War II, last 80-year era. Is Jim Harbaugh the best coach Michigan's ever had? You could say he's accomplished the most, right? 3 straight wins over number 2 Ohio State. Only 3 appearances in the college football playoff. Obviously, slanted because he was the head coach for 9 of the 10 years of the playoff. But nevertheless, national championship, beat Alabama, beat Nick Saban, left Michigan with 4 straight wins over Ohio State and Alabama combined. I guess it would be, 7 straight wins over Alabama, Penn State, and Ohio State combined. That's pretty good. So I'm going to say yes at this point, that Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in Michigan football history. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. I tweeted this out the moment it happened, and you'll get all of the latest and greatest on the Michigan football program as Sharon Moore or someone else is named head coach, future Jesse Minter, future of Jay Harbaugh, and others. But follow me on X/Twitter. Let's X together. It's at James Yoder. So Jim Harbaugh's gone. We were prepared for this, Jack. Congratulations to us. We kind of had things getting going live. We did a show 45 minutes to an hour ago where I told you, I said, hey, look, let's read between the lines here. It looks like he's going here, so brace yourself. But nevertheless, Adam Schefter broke the news first. Say again, Jack? I knew it for you. I'm sorry. Scheduled to play the Baltimore Ravens next season at SoFi, so Jim Harbaugh's new stadium, which will officially be a matchup between John and Jim Harbaugh. How about this one from the Chargers? If you're a Chargers fan, welcome to our new Chargers channel. I think they said we're going to go live on our new Chargers channel. They're trying to turn me into the Chargers Report insider. We got 2 people watching over there, so congratulations to you 2 Charger fans that are watching, so appreciate that. They say, who's got it better than us? I think it's a low blow. If I was Jim Harbaugh, I'd rescind the job. So that's what the Chargers are tweeting out there. But what's next for Michigan? Who's next for Michigan is, I think, the real question, right? The conventional wisdom says that Sherrone Moore is going to be Michigan's next coach, right? So will he be named without a national coaching search? Based on what's happened with Alabama, right, they've lost so many transfer portal players. Like a starting center was kind of a bum anyways. Caleb Downs, a second-team All-American, SEC Freshman of the Year, and quite a few other players have left there. And, if your head coach leaves, now Michigan players have a 30-day window to transfer to anywhere they want. And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. So if you have a 2 or 3 or 4 week coaching search, right, you don't get a chance to also re-recruit your own players, not to mention not being able to recruit anybody else's or anything like that, recruits or potential transfer portals from other schools that lost their coaches. So I think it's probably the best move, at least in the short term. And, we'll see and hope that Sherrone Moore is the right guy long term. His career, offensive coordinator and offensive line coach this season. Co-OC the last couple years, 2021 with Josh Gaddis, although Gaddis, and then last year with Matt Weiss. Tight ends coach from Michigan from 2018, 19, and 20, and then tight ends and recruiting coordinator at Central Michigan for 4 seasons, 2014 to 17. Prior to that, he was at Louisville as a tight ends coach for a couple years. For 3 years prior to that at Louisville, he was a grad assistant, and prior to that, he played at the University of Oklahoma for a couple seasons prior to he transferred over from a community college. So 2 seasons at Oklahoma, 06-07, and played at Butler Community College while being a grad assistant at Louisville, like I mentioned, at the 2009, 10, and 11 season. So there's Sherrone Moore. 4-0 record as Michigan's acting head coach. But I do want to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel while you're watching. If you're watching live here on Wednesday night or on demand later on, subscribe to the channel. We're at 31,000, about 30,100 or so subscribers. It's youtube.com/Michigan TV. We'll put it eventually in the link in the live chat, or just right below the video. Just hit that subscribe button if it's not grayed out and check marked for you that you've got a subscriber. Keep growing this channel because we're still here, even though Jim Harbaugh has gone on to the NFL, back to the NFL, where he coached 4 years, 2011 through 2014. Now, Sherrone Moore, right? Kind of things turned around, I think, when he moved to offensive line coach in 2021 season. It really turned around, right? The ground rate offense, it was apparent from game 1. Game 2, they ran over what was at the time a good Washington team, and they continued on. Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum, a little bit of Donovan Edwards, a little bit of J.J. McCarthy that year. That coincided with a remarkable turnaround for Michigan football. He's got a 40-3 record, right? He's got a 40-3 record as offensive coordinator and co-OC at Michigan, and a 4-0 record as Michigan's head coach, right? He beat Ohio State, he beat Maryland, he beat Penn State, and then he was the head coach for like the second game of the year, whichever one that was, Bowling Green, I think it was. Just 37 years old, right? He'll be 38 here in about a little over a week. So happy early birthday to Sherrone Moore. Awesome record as co-OC and offensive coordinator as by himself, co-OC. He has been at the helm, Jim Harbaugh's right-hand man, the only coordinator that's been there all 3 seasons. But how do we get here, right? It's really tough to kind of think about how we got here. And I do think that if Harbaugh is going to go no matter what, sure. But don't say a week and a half ago that you're going to put a contract in front of the man's face. Michigan really messed up by not making sure they're like, 7 years, $15 million a year, 6 years, $15 million a year, whatever the charge they're making, $1 million extra to that, and give him whatever he wants, because the downside is probably much worse than the downside of losing him than the downside of giving him the wrong contract. Last week, right, just 9-10 days ago, I guess it was like 10, 11, 12 days ago, I am working on getting this man a new contract. I promise you that. That was Ward Manuel at Michigan's championship rally. So how do we get here? Now, Jim Harbaugh, John Beilein, the baseball coach, whose name's Batchich, forgetting at this moment, Mel Pearson, all left either on their own accord or fired for off-the-court issues, off-the-ice issues. Then Red Berenson retired under his name. So you might lose the best coach or one of the 2 best coaches in all 4 major men's sports in the short tenure of Ward Manuel since 2016. So it's kind of like his 7th, 8th year at the helm. So let me ask you guys this question to wrap up this portion of the show. We'll keep it rolling live. Great Ward Manuel as Michigan's athletic director since 2016. Very high highs, Frozen 4, a college baseball World Series championship deciding game for men's. Frozen 4, a NCAA tournament, Final Four, and national championship game. A national championship in football, a lot of accolades, but losing your top 4 or 5 employees, I think, is down. So I'm going with a C, maybe even a C minus on this one. Let me know A, B, C, D, or F. And if you're watching here on the Chargers channel, we launched a new Chargers channel. Subscribe. Maybe we'll put out more content. Maybe it'll be me. Maybe we'll hire somebody else. Maybe Jim, you can be young Harbaugh. Just swap out your hats. YouTube.com/Chargers TV or at Chargers TV here on YouTube. We'll put that link in the live chat on both. But if you're watching over that channel, feel free to subscribe. If you're a Chargers fan watching our Michigan Fit channel, head over there and we'll start putting some content as Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers might be one of the most talked about teams in the NFL going forward.